So down in Warrington this morning, we've got a DAF CF 21 plate with a air supply system malfunction and an engine warning. So we'll jump in this, see what's going on. So, first things first, we need to confirm the customer's concern, so we'll get the ignition on, see what's happening. Let's get the key on. That's an annoying noise. What have we got today? Air supply system malfunction. And an engine warning, brilliant. So now we know what we're dealing with, let's go jump on Jaltest. So we've got a bit of groundwork to do now. Mainly, can we communicate with the ECU, in which case this is the smart air controller on a DAF. What faults have we got in the engine, if that's related, and also we need to check our wiring diagrams to see for issues or possible causes that could be a simple fix, such as a power supply issue or something along them lines. So we'll get into this. Also VIN identification. It doesn't get much easier than this. We want our 2017 onwards because it's a 21 plate. And we're just going to go for smart air controller. There we go. Can we talk to this system? Because this is the one with our red warning. No, we can't talk to this ECU at all. So what could cause our no communication? Well, it could be CAN wiring, grounds, or powers. So we need a wiring diagram, and we can check the fuse board to see if there's any blown fuses first. I almost forgot, what about our engine warning? Right, let's go for pack our common rail. There we go. Let's connect to our engine ECU or PCI. Got a fault code reading. Continue. What's our issues today? So we've got an internal fault on the turbo actuator, and we've got a waiting timeout exceeded on the CAN messages from the SAC or air supply unit. So we'll now have to have a look at our diagrams. So we know what the issue was with our engine. That was our amber warning at the start. We'll have a look at our smart air controller wiring diagrams now, see where the fuse is first. Always start at the front and work our way back. And then we can progress down the chassis to the smart air controller, see what's going on. So we can't connect to this ECU, but we can certainly look at the diagrams. So we don't want model specific wiring diagrams, we just want our electrical connections. So we've got this detailed arrangement here of how the actual smart air controller works, but what we're interested in is this top half here, which is the ECU. We've got pins 8, 6, 5, 1, 3 and 7 here, which are also displayed here, and these are our pin assignments down the side here. What I'm interested in at the moment is our power supplies and our grounds. We've got a KL30, which is our 24 volts in on pin 5, and we've got KL15, which is our ignition feed on pin 6. If we double click on this ECU, we can see that this is what we need to be looking at. This is something I keep on the van. That's how often I change these. So I'd like to know where both our KL30, which is our main live, comes in, and KL15, which is our ignition switched live. So we'll go back to diagrams, and we'll have a look at fuse and relay box diagram. What we'll do now is we'll put in our component search, which is our management unit and compressed air treatment. Now we've double clicked our E460 fuse here, we can see that it's flashing and highlighted here. So we'll jump in the cab now and find E460 on the diagram. We'll be needing our Truck Tech UK LED test light for this one. Right, E460. Well, Jaltest said it was the third row down and the second fuse in, which is this one here, 25C. So if we look on the bottom here, C25 E460. That was easy. Right. Let's find an earth. Is this an earth? Yes. Right. So have we got power here? Yes, we've got power there. Have we got power underneath it? Yes, we've got power there. That's interesting. Right then, we better pop down the back and see what's going on there. So we're under the truck now. What we're going to do is test our powers, grounds and CAN at this plug here for the smart air controller, and we'll see what's going on with this. So now we've got our plug off our smart air controller. We'll check this ground wire here and these two power wires with our test light. we'll just pick up an earth on here. And we'll just pick up this top one here to start. Then we'll have this banana plug in there and another banana plug in our earth. So we'll just have our banana clip on our earth. And then we've got our test light here with our positive. So we've got 23 volts there. Let's move this down one. And we've got 23 volts there. So it's got powers and grounds. Now, has it got CAN? Well, everything seems to be in order in this. So now we know there's actually nothing wrong with the wiring from the vehicle. We can definitely say that it's the smart air controller, ECU and component itself. So we're going to have to get this changed now. So we've got 3 bolts to take out here. 4 bolts out of our multi-circuit protection valve and the air pipe up for the front. So we'll get into this. So that's loose from that valve body now. We shouldn't need these bolts again because there should be new ones in the box. So now we've got the compressor pipe to undo, which doesn't want to undo as always. You just love lying in a puddle. So now we've just got these 3 bolts here to undo. There we go. Right. So this is our old SAC unit or smart air controller. We're going to need this plug out of here and this fitting out of there for our new one. But if you're like me and you just like messing about, what we'll do now is we'll just connect Jaltest up to the smart air controller ECU on its own, rather than going through the truck, and we'll see if we can talk to it here. So Jaltest is powered up. We've got our ignition switch here, our battery positive and battery negative, and we're plugged into the ECU. The next question is, can we talk to it on Jaltest? So we're still in the chassis now. We'll just press connect. Will she talk to the ECU? No. So this ECU is definitely dead. Start this fitting off here. And this blank out of here. Hopefully she wants to undo. Spot the difference, competition. DAF. No DAF. Same part. So we'll just get some thread sealant on here. Should do it. Let's not forget the exhaust, eh? Ta-da! So our smart air controller is now fitted. We'll turn the ignition on, see what lights we've got on here, and then we're going to have to go into the ECU and make some adjustments. Get our key on. Oh, this sound. What warnings have we got on now? Air supply system malfunction in amber now. And our engine malfunction in amber. So, ignition's on. As you can hear, it's still beeping away. We'll go into engine and we'll go into smart air controller, see what else we've got to do. Can we talk to our smart air controller ECU now? Of course we can. There's nothing wrong with this ECU because it's brand new. Well, when I say there's nothing wrong with this ECU, we've got to do something to it. We've got a fault code reading. Configuration error. What's a configuration error, you might ask? This fault can only be repaired in a brand-related workshop. If this was Monday to Friday, I'd simply phone up Central Services at Eclipse Diagnostics and they'd program this for me over the internet. But because it's Saturday, I'm going to have to do something different. What we're going to need now is a donor unit. As you can see, I've got what we've got here, Model Year 17 tracked units, Euro 6 tracked units, and also a tipper for Model Year 17. So we'll be using this as our donor unit to program the vehicle. So I'm just going to plug this into this spare donor ECU now. If I'd put it in the right way, that might help us. Right. So now we're going to use the NOR-BREMS add-on, and what we're going to do is go to parameters and do control unit replacement. This is the aftermarket part number that we're using here. And what it's doing now is reading the ECU memory of all the parameters that we're going to need to do this. Now we're going to go and turn the ignition off, swap the ECUs over, turn it back on and continue. Let's get you off. Let's unplug our donor unit. Of course, if you didn't have one of these, you could just take it off another truck that you might have in your fleet. Obviously, it has to be a duplicate of the vehicle. So that's our new unit plugged in now. Let's have ignition back on. Let's press continue. So this is now writing our information into the control unit. The process is finished. So what we can do now is cycle the ignition. I wish that had shut up. That's it. No engine warning, no air supply system controller malfunction, nothing. So now we've programmed our smart air controller, or copy and pasted the data with our NOR-BREMS add-on. We'll just go to connect to the unit again. Now I've cycled the ignition. So if we go to fault code reading now, you can see this is now inactive. That's now not a problem anymore. We'll just delete this error. That's done. We'll disconnect from this. We'll go into PCI. That was the other one we had issues with. As a good housekeeper measure, it always helps to clear the fault codes down after you've done any major repairs, because who wants to go back into this in a couple of weeks and find out that faults that you did last time are still there? It just makes the matter confusing. So we're in PCI now, fault code reading. We'll continue with this. And in our ECU memory, we now have an inactive fault for our CAN message timeout. We'll just clear these down. No doubt this internal fault on the VTG turbocharger actuator will be under the 5-year policy on them, so we'll get that sorted with DAF at some point. But yeah, that's it. We'll go start the truck, make sure everything's right, but I think we're done here. Right, let's start her up. We'll check it for air leaks as well. As you can see, our engine warning's now gone out on the dash. As soon as this comes out of amber, this should disappear and we should have a nice clear dash for at least 5 minutes. There we go. Job done. Let's check it for air leaks. Well, we've got no air leaks from this smart air controller. That's me done here. Let's get to the next job. Another lovely sunny day here in Bolton. We've got a DAF XF Euro 6, reported EAS malfunction, reported engine malfunction, and an air supply system malfunction. So we'll hop in the cab now, see what's going on. Let's see what cards were being dealt today by this DAF. Move the steering wheel. So we've got a lane departure system disabled. We're not bothered about that. So this is the main one. Air supply system malfunction. Lane departure, the customer knows about. Engine malfunction. Exhaust system malfunction. But this is the main one we need to deal with. So we'll just clear these errors off and we'll see how much air we've got in the vehicle. So we've got 10 bar in tank 2 and nothing in tank 1 apparently. Seems a bit suspicious, doesn't it? Let's plug Jaltest in from Eclipse Diagnostics and see what's going on. So we get our VCI plugged in. We'll check our pass-through pin checker. We've got ground, CAN, power, happy days. As always, auto VIN identification, Euro 6 DAF XF, and we'll just do SAC first, Smart Air Controller. This is through the NOR-BREMS add-on for Jaltest, which has been supplied by Eclipse Diagnostics. This is our system configuration. We can go into this now and go to fault code reading. So straight away, we've got brake circuit pressure sensor 1, value above the allowed range. But yet we've seen it with no air whatsoever on the gauge. So let's have a look at the information. Pressure sensor circuit 1. Circuit pressure, check air dryer, replace a component if necessary. Well, where is pressure sensor circuit 1? So up here, this is our ECU. We've got PS1 and PS2. These are our pressure sensors. As you can see, this then goes down to port 21. This is where we're having no air coming through. So what we'll do is we'll go to measurements. We'll see what we've got here. Pressures. Select. Not available. So it's not that it's 0, it's just not available. So all I'm going to do now is whip this ECU off, because we've got unavailable from the pressure sensor, and we'll see what's going on in the ECU, I think. So now I've got the bolts out and the air pressure's dropped down enough. We'll have a look what's going on in the ECU. Well, there's a lot of moisture in there, isn't there? So this is the SAC ECU. As we know, this has got one of the pressure sensors not working on it. What I'm going to do now is substitute it with a known good that I carry on the van for programming these things, because sometimes this is all rusted and corroded and you can't talk to it. So I always have one for Euro 6, model year 17 and tippers, etc. So we'll just plug this in and see if we have any pressure gauges that come up on Jaltest. So I'll just slap this up on here. We'll plug this in. We'll go and turn the ignition back on. And we'll go and see if we've got any pressure sensors. So we'll just reconnect back to our EAC2 or SAC, I suppose. Hopefully this connects. Yes, right. So it's talking, same software. Now, fault codes. Yes, there's a lot because I have had it on and off without the ignition, but the main thing is our circuit 1 isn't active anymore. So if we go into measurements, we'll select all of them and see if they both say 0 bar. There we go. Both of them say 0 bar now, so I'd say our fault is actually the ECU, not the pressure sensor itself. So we'll get some bolts in this cover now, I think, and see if it makes some air. Throw 2 in the top. This is the stupidest placed air dryer I've ever seen in my life. Right. Let's see how we get on this time. Both our gauges are coming up now. And this has now solved our engine warning and our EAS fault, as it all seems to have been attributed to the smart air controller pressure gauge fault. So circuit 1 was causing our issues, I'd say. The amount of air controller system malfunctions I've been to in the past 2 weeks has been unreal. I've been running around programming these for customers, fitting new units, and I've fitted about 4 wiring harnesses. For the 80 quid these costs, I now only make temporary repairs to get them going, then we throw a harness on. Well, that's about it for this week's video. As always, if you don't want to miss anything from me, hit the subscribe button. If you've enjoyed this week's video, please give it a thumbs up as it really helps the channel, and I'll hopefully catch you next week.